When you create a WordPress site, WordPress encourages you to group the posts on your site to make it easier for visitors to find relevant articles. As an example, I've drawn up a plan here for a site on dogs. Now, this site might have articles on dog training, on dog grooming, on dog nutrition, and dog exercise. In the diagram, I've called those 4 things activities. But there may also be articles on specific breeds. So, as an example, we've got Alsatian, Chihuahua, Afghan Hound, and Border Collie. An SEO perspective on this is that any article you create should be in one category only. So let's suppose you are doing an article on grooming an Afghan Hound. It's obviously different from grooming a Chihuahua or an Alsatian or a Border Collie. Afghan Hounds have lots and lots of hair, so there's going to be techniques that are applying only to the Afghan Hounds. So you've got a dog grooming article on Afghan Hounds. Do you put it into the dog grooming category, or do you put it into the Afghan Hound category? Another option you have with WordPress is that you could put the post into more than one category. But as I mentioned, from an SEO perspective, that's not really a very good idea. It confuses the search engines about what the post is really about, and it will also confuse your visitors. So what's the solution? Well, fortunately, WordPress has something called tags. Tags are like keywords. So for any article you write, you can add tags to it, which help to describe and categorize that particular post. So let's take an example. Let's say we decide that we're going to use the activities as categories. So we have dog training category, dog grooming category, dog nutrition category, and dog exercise category. And then we write a post on grooming an Afghan Hound. Well, that Afghan Hound grooming article will go into the dog grooming category with all the other dog grooming articles. But we could add a tag to that post called Afghan. By doing that, WordPress will create a tag page called Afghan, and it will list any posts that have that tag. So we could have an article on Afghan Hound nutrition, an article on dog exercise for Afghans, an article on training Afghan Hounds. Those articles would go into the activity categories, but they would have the Afghan tag applied to them. So anybody coming to your site, if they've got an Afghan Hound and they're only interested in looking at Afghan Hound articles, they could go to the Afghan Hound tag page, and that would list all articles that have the Afghan Hound tag. So they would see the dog training, the dog grooming, the dog nutrition, and the dog exercise articles related only to the Afghan Hound. So the next question then is, how do we decide what should be categories and what should be tags? Think of categories as the most important form of grouping your posts, and then tags as a secondary form of grouping posts. You need to think how your visitors will think. Are they coming to your site specifically to look at dog training, dog grooming, dog nutrition, and dog exercise articles? Or are they coming specifically to your site to see Alsatian articles, or Chihuahua articles, or Afghan Hound articles, or Border Collie articles? Whichever is the most important to your visitors, that is the one you should use as categories, and the other one should be assigned tags. So let's suppose you want to cater this towards the dog breed and say, well, people are only going to be interested in articles about their own dog breed. So we have categories of Alsatian, Chihuahua, Afghan Hound, and Border Collie. You then create an article on dog grooming and Afghan Hound. Well, that would go into the Afghan Hound category, but it would be tagged grooming. Similarly, if you had an article on grooming a Chihuahua, that would go into the Chihuahua category, but be tagged with dog grooming. Now let's suppose somebody comes along, they want to set up their business, they want to do a dog grooming business. They come to your site and they see that your site is organised by the dog breeds, but they're interested in all the breeds, but they're only interested in dog grooming articles because that's what they want to offer at their salon. So they can go to the tag page for dog grooming, and on that page they'll see a list of all articles that have been tagged grooming. So they'll see how to groom an Alsatian, how to groom a Chihuahua, how to groom an Afghan Hound, and how to groom a Border Collie. Hopefully you've got a better understanding of how tags can work along with categories. WordPress is really powerful, and it gives you the tools that you need, but you can abuse those tools and use them incorrectly. One word of caution: don't use tags just for the sake of using tags. Tags should be used strategically to create pages that list related content, like we've seen. And in the same way that you wouldn't create a category for 1 or 2 posts, you wouldn't create a tag for just 1 or 2 posts either. Because remember that for every category you create, WordPress creates a category page. For every tag you create, WordPress creates a tag page. I've seen websites that have tag pages that only have 1 article listed. What's the point of having just 1 article with a tag? Because tags are there to group and classify. You can't classify 1 post. You need to classify into groups. So only use tags if there are a few articles that are going to use that tag. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a site with lots of tag pages with very little content, and Google isn't going to like it.